When you travel with your yarn, are you always forgetting something important to finish your project? We're going to talk about how to avoid that. Hello, and welcome to Bla Bla Black Sheep, a weekly yarny podcast where I, Sarah Korth of SEK Handmade, answer your yarny questions. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. We're going to get to that question in just a minute, but first, I want to share with you what I'm going to wear today. Friends, I was sucked in by the Instagram influencers. I saw these super cute palazzo pants on this lady that I follow on Instagram, and they look so cute and so comfortable, and they were so inexpensive. And I was like, yes, get me one of those. So I'm standing in front of the mirror this morning, and our only full-length mirror in our house is in our coat closet. So the coat closet's open. I'm standing in front of it. I'm looking at myself, like really debating, like they're so comfortable, but they just don't look quite right. And the little one comes up and he says, "What you doing?" And I said, "I'm looking at these pants. I can't decide if I want to keep them or not." And he looks at them and goes, "Hmm." And I was like, "Yeah, it kind of looks like I have a diaper on." And he's like, "Mm-hmm. You should put on jeans and a colorful shawl." And so here we are, taking advice from a 9-year-old boy. I put on my jeans and I have a colorful shawl. So today I'm going to be wearing my Lumi shawl. I love, love, love how colorful this is. And I'm going to wrap it almost like a poncho. So I think what I'm going to do, actually, I think what I'm going to do is flip it around because these are my less favorite colors and these are my more favorite colors. You know, I love the blues. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to flip it over. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be so elegant. I'm going to be so elegant. No, I'm not. Over my shoulders. Yes, that worked out. Okay. With the center in the center back, I'm going to kind of drape it over my shoulders. Let's see. Bring it down. This part's going to go in front, but actually I'm going to move because I need more. So flip around. Ready? Woo! Flip it around. Just like that, kind of. Let's do this and then do this and then done. So you're welcome for that very graceful and informative tutorial on how to wear this. So this is my Lumi shawl. I love her. She's my first Advent shawl. I'm definitely planning another one for this year. I love how colorful she is. Bring me all the colors. And great way to use up scraps. Great way to use that Advent kit that you purchased and then oohed and awed over the yarns and now don't know what to do with. Links to the shawl available on Ravelry and Etsy, and the introduction video that gives you some actual good tutorials on how to wear it, and to the yarn, which is by Knitted Wit, all in the show notes below. I got you covered. So there you go. Let's talk about our question for the day. I love to travel with my yarn, but I often forget something when I'm packing and end up getting stuck somewhere on my project because of it. How can I avoid this? Okay, here's what I do. I very carefully plan one project. I think for weeks in advance, this is the project I'm going to take with me. I need this and that and this and that. And I gather up everything for that one project. And then I decide at the last minute that I should take at least 3 other projects with me. So it's those 3 other projects that trip me up, right? And was it the first project that I end up working on a bunch? No, I always end up working more on the ones that I threw in at the last minute. So I think that maybe part of the solution to this is to limit the number of projects you take. You can do that by thinking really carefully about what the best project or 2 or 3, maybe depending on how long you're going and how big your projects are, what those best projects would be. So you need to think about what kind of time are you going to have, where are you going, and what kind of environment are you going to be in. Is this a go, go, go vacation where you're like seeing famous places and, absorbing a new culture? Or is this a laying on the beach or sitting on the deck kind of vacation? Is this like a hiking in the wilderness vacation? Or is this like a hanging out in the city vacation? Because all of those things really change what kind of project you want to bring. Do you have kids with you? Don't you have kids with you? Are you going just yourself or yourself and a partner or yourself and like a friend? Or are you going with a big group where there's going to be like lots of activity and lots of conversation? So all of those things go into packing the perfect project. And I think maybe if we think, me included, a little more about what the perfect project is, then we're a little less likely to last minute throw in, several other projects that A, we don't need, or B, we end up haphazardly tossing in and missing some of the key things that we need to finish the project. That's my first tip. Maybe be a little more thoughtful about what you bring. No judgment here. I also am not often thoughtful about what I bring. So we can both work on it. My next tip for packing well, and to me, this is something that reduces my stress a whole bunch. The key is a packing list. I have kept packing lists for myself and my children since the boys were little tiny. And now that Weston sometimes travels with us, he also has a packing list. And these are the people I'm responsible for. Do I have a packing list for my husband? No, he's a big kid. He packs himself. But all the people that I'm mostly responsible for packing, I keep a packing list. And it covers all the things. It covers like, what do we need to get ready for bed? What do we need for waking up in the morning? What do we need for travel in the car time, or travel time? So like, we need snacks. I have these little snack cups that have flip tops, which are great for traveling in the car, because then you flip the top, you eat something, you close the top. If it slides off your seat, you're not spraying, snack all over the car. So all of those things are on my list, things to entertain the kids. And what I have done is I have now made one for projects, taking yarny projects along. So this will work both for knitters and crocheters. And I've made it pretty, and I'm giving it to you for free to help you be less stressed this summer in your adventures, because that's what I want for you. So there's a link in the show notes below. Could you make this yourself? Absolutely. But why? Why, if I've already made it for you? It's a full list of all the things you could possibly need, and it's 2 pages. There's one that's like cute and pretty, and there's one that's bare bones, so that when you print, you don't waste a bunch of your ink. I'm a pen and paper person, so I always print my packing list and check things off as I go. The other thing I do then is I cross out things we don't need. So my packing list have things like swimming suits and snow boots. We don't ever need both of those things. So if it's summer, I cross out, hats and gloves and boots, and then I check off swimming suits. So there may be, I've tried to be, I guess what I'm saying is I've tried to be as thorough as possible. So just cross out the things that you don't need for specific trips, and then make sure you take all the other things that you need, and you can check them off as you pack them and put them in your bag. That's my recommendation. Don't check them off until they are physically in a bag that you're taking with you. And you'll be good to go. So what kinds of things do I think you need to pack? You need to pack, obviously, your yarn. And I always take, and this could be like a packing situation, so you need to think about this. I always take all the yarn I need, because the one time I think, oh, I only need one additional skein, I like fly through the project and I wish I had brought the rest of the yarn. So I try to bring, if it's at all possible, which we do most of our traveling by car, so it usually is, try to bring all the yarn I need for the project, not just like the next ball of yarn. I bring the hook I need. You need to think, though, are you starting a project? So do you need to bring maybe a bunch of hooks, like a whole set of hooks, so that if you need to change hooks to meet gauge, you'll be able to do that on your trip. If you're just starting a project, you might also want to bring a gauge ruler so that you can easily measure your gauge while you're on your trip. But if you're working on a project you've already started, you don't need that. So you can cross that out. Stitch markers, row counters, extra hooks and needles, tapestry needles, a small pair of scissors or cutting device so that you can cut your yarn when you need to. All of those things are on my list so that you can just check them off as you add them to your bag. Now, the other thing that I want you to think about that I think sometimes will trip us up as we're traveling is your pattern specifically. Your pattern specifically. I think the main way that this trips us up is if we are using a pattern that we don't own a PDF to. We can absolutely use patterns that are free by going to people's blogs and looking them up. But if you're planning to use a pattern that way and you're going to a remote cabin or you're going to be sitting on the beach most of the day and you don't have Wi-Fi, you're not going to be able to access your pattern. And that would be so frustrating. So be sure to be using a pattern that you own a PDF for. And then you need to think about, how do you prefer your patterns? Are you going to download it to a tablet or your phone and then just have it on there? Or do you prefer your pattern in printed form? If you prefer printed form, you need to make sure you have it printed out and then physically with you before you go. Might also be good to put it in a sheet protector. That way it doesn't get all crumpled up and dirty as you're traveling with it. Watch out. I'm going to hop up on my soapbox here for a second, because let me tell you what you are not going to do. You are not going to take that free pattern from someone's blog, and you're not going to copy and paste or screenshot the whole thing. And here's why. There is no such thing as a free pattern. And don't come at me that there are some people who put up free patterns that don't have ads on their blog. Okay, sure. But generally speaking, there's no such thing as a free pattern. You are either paying for a pattern with your moolah, so going to their website, purchasing the PDF, downloading the PDF, or you are paying for your pattern by visiting their blog. They get ad revenue every time you visit, and that's how they make money off their pattern. So you're either paying with money or you're paying with time. You are cheating the system and stealing from a designer when you screenshot or copy and paste their pattern from their blog, because you're taking away the ad revenue that they get by you visiting the blog. And I know you're a good person. You don't want to steal from anybody, so we're not going to do that. Stepping down from myself. So then the last thing I want to share as a little tip to help you not get caught without supplies that you need is to take that pattern that now you have either downloaded or printed and read through the whole pattern. In theory, you should just be able to read the supply list and see, do I need 2 hook sizes? Do I need some elastic? Do I need waist yarn? Do I need a button? But I think a lot of times it really helps to read through the pattern. That doesn't mean you have to think in your brain, SC2 for SC, skip 1, chain 5, hoop-de-doop-de-doo. No. But look at where the pattern breaks down. Look at, like, are we adding applied ribbing? Are we finishing instructions? What do we need for that kind of stuff? Reading through those instructions, for one thing, solidifies in my brain what we are going to be doing and what specifically I need. The other thing about reading through the instructions is that you may want to make some modifications. So you may read through the instructions and it may be a cardigan that has like 1 button, and you may say, no, I want 3 buttons. So 3 buttons aren't going to be listed on the supply list, but you know you want 3 buttons, so now you're going to take 3 buttons. It may suggest that you add some applied ribbing and you go down a hook size or go up a hook size, and you may say, I don't want to do that, so I don't need that extra hook. Or it may recommend you not go down a hook size, and you're like, I always go down a hook size, so there weren't 2 hooks listed, but now I'm going to bring 2 hooks. So that reading through the whole pattern just gives you the ability to be prepared before you get there, since you won't have access to all of your supplies, with what exactly you need in the way you want to create the pattern. So there you go. I hope you found that helpful. Link in the description below under this question to my packing list so that you don't have to make your own and you'll be good to go without forgetting a single thing. All right, let's talk small businesses. Friends, I would first like to give a little shout out to Knitted Wit Yarn. I have worked with their yarn several times and I really love it. It holds up super well and has such vibrant colors. The link to Knitted Wit is up in the description by my pattern. I highly recommend checking out their yarn. For my mug today, I have my, what does it say? I need a huge amount of yarn. Yes, I do. Thank you. This is a fun mug from Cheeky Ceramics. I will link to their site. If you want a yarn specific mug from Cheeky Ceramics, ooh, if you want a yarn specific mug from Cheeky Ceramics, you can either message Rin for a custom order, or I will also give you a link to my local yarn shop where they sell mugs like this. Since I went nice and bold with my shawl, I went a little more simple with my earrings. These gorgeous black and white earrings are from McCabe Artistry, and I really love them. They're nice and lightweight. And I don't know if you can see this. I think she makes her own earring hooks, and I like that they are small and tight. They always stay put nicely on my ear. For announcements, there's just one announcement. We are still doing whip wrap up. People are wrapping up whips. We're really encouraging each other. It's a great community experience. If you have been wanting a yarny community, but you don't have a physical yarny community, this is a great place to join in, meet some other crafters, and have some support. There's a link below to email me if you want to join the Discord group, and a link to the Facebook group, which is where I'll be hosting all my events, at least for the foreseeable future. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you'll join with Wrap Up. I'd love it if you would like this video, subscribe, turn on notifications, share it with a friend so we can grow our community. I hope you have a wonderful week, and then I'll see you back here next week. Until then, happy crafting.